Hi everyone. How are you all doing today? I hope that you all are doing fine and okay. Today our lesson is direct and indirect objects. First you have to log in using the aplusstudent.com. Click on your name, move on to language art grade 8, and under that you find the chapter direct and indirect objects. So it's still the lesson will be, is it a direct object or an indirect object? So a direct object is the pronoun, noun, or noun phrase that receives the action. So, so it's either the noun phrase, pronoun, or the noun that receives the action of a verb. To find the direct object in a sentence, you have to locate the action verb and ask what or whom is it acting on. So you have to note what or whom is it acting on. Okay, if you know this, then you can be able to figure out the direct object. So, for example, we have Janet admires her neighbor. So Janet admires her neighbor. Whom does Janet admire? You would say her neighbor. Her neighbor is a direct object in the sentence. Then we also have Charlie baked a cake. So Charlie baked a cake. What did Charlie bake? You would say a cake. So a cake is a direct object in the sentence. So you have to take note. The direct or indirect object always asks what or whom. So some verbs have a direct object Some verbs that have a direct object can also have an indirect object, of course. So because we have the direct, we also have indirect object. Now an indirect object is the pronoun, noun, or noun phrase that receives the direct object. So it receives the direct object of a verb. Okay? So the direct object always appears in between a verb and its direct object, so the indirect object. So whenever you have the indirect object, it's appearing in between the verb and its direct object. So to find the indirect object in a sentence, locate the action verb and its direct object and ask to what, to whom. So, to whom the direct object is being given, or for what, or for whom the action is being performed. Then we say Charlie baked his mom a cake. For whom did Charlie bake a cake for? His mom. His mom is the indirect object in the sentence. Okay? Be careful not to confuse the indirect object with an object of preposition. An object of preposition is a pronoun, noun, or noun phrase that comes directly after a preposition such as to, for, in, under, or during. So, Charlie baked a cake for his mom. Here, his mom is an object of preposition, not an indirect object because it says for. You can tell because his mom comes directly after a preposition for, and because it does not appear in between the verb baked and the direct object a cake. So you have to remember that the indirect object will be in the middle of the direct object and the verb. Okay, so let's move on to the test. So let's look at some of the examples. It says Is the phrase in bold a direct object or an indirect object? At our favorite Italian restaurants, my father always orders us an extra cannoli for dessert. So, an extra cannoli is a direct object of the verb order. Okay, so it asks the question, what does my father always order for us? So remember that direct always asks what or whom. So yes, what does our father orders for us? That means the direct object. So the pie shop owner happily baked Farah a fresh blackberry pie for her party. So what do you think this is? What did they bake, or what did the pie shop owner happily bake, Farah? So it will be what? Direct objects. John's pediatrician prescribed him an antibiotic. So John's pediatrician prescribed him an antibiotics. So now, him is the indirect object of the verb prescribed. It answered the question, for whom did John pediatrician prescribe an antibiotic? So it is an indirect object. So we'll move on to the test now. You can share your answers with me if you know. In the is the phrase in both a direct object or an indirect object? Coach King threw her swim team an end of season party. So it's like, what did the coach throw? You would say end of season party. When you ask what did he throw, right? Which of what did he throw for them? So it would be end of season party. Camille built her clients a sleek new website. So what is this? So Camille built her client a sleek new website. So what did Camille build? You would say a sleek new website. When you ask the question, what did she build? It would be the sleek website. Wendy owes Maki $20 for last night's dinner. Okay? So this is an indirect, right? Because it would be like, to whom or to who does she owe the $20? Okay. So we have Harry caught us a huge catfish for lunch. Harry caught us a huge catfish for lunch. So what do you think is this one? So you would say, what did Harry catch? Harry caught us a huge catfish. So the pie owner happily baked Farah a fresh blackberry pie for her party. So is it direct or indirect? So what did the pie shop owner bake? It will be fresh blackberry pie. Conan prepared his family a delicious herb roasted chicken for dinner. So direct or indirect? Okay, so it will be, what did Conan prepare for his family? A delicious herb roasted chicken. You will ask, what did he prepare? So, at our favorite Italian restaurant, my father always orders us an extra cannoli for dessert. So the movie gave me nightmares for weeks. The movie gave me nightmares for weeks. So what did the movie give me, or to whom, or for whom? What do you think? Indirect or direct object? Okay, so indirect. So we have Nina left the hotel staff a gracious thank you note. Nina left the hotel staff a gracious thank you note. What do you think? So indirect. So it would be like, for whom did she leave the gracious thank you note? It will be for like the hotel staffs. Okay. In 1983, Columbia University awarded Alice Walker the Pulitzer Prize for her novel, The Color Purple. What is this? Direct or indirect? So this is a direct object. Jake sent his aunt a thank you card for her thoughtful graduation gift. Jake sent his aunt a thank you card for her thoughtful graduation gift. So indirect. So the direct object is actually the correct one because you would say a thank you card is the direct object of the sentence. It's the verb sent, okay? It's like saying, what did Jake send his aunt? So the postal clerk handed me a certified letter. What do you think here? Okay. So yeah, we have mindful of the hot sun, Jane offered her dog some water. Mindful of the hot sun, Jane offered her dog some water. What do you think, direct or indirect? So we have direct. Brian's new job offered him much more freedom than his previous one. Direct or indirect? So, direct object. Bella usually cooks her dinner guests impressive meals. Bella usually cooks her dinner guests impressive meals. Okay, so direct objects. The cashier handed Grayson his credit card receipt. What do you think? So she gave him his credit card receipt. All right, so we have the owner of the art gallery showed us the new paintings on display. So we have indirect objects. So a helpful neighbor Luke often lends us his gardening tools. What do you think? So we have direct object gardening tools. Mayor Daniel Boyer promised the voters in his district lower taxes. What do you think? So indirect object. The security guard asks us a few questions in the lobby. Direct or indirect? So what do you think here? Cassie casually tossed her teammate the softball. Cassie casually tossed her teammate the softball. John's pediatrician prescribed him an antibiotic. John pediatrician prescribed him an antibiotic. So indirect object him. A guard denied the tourist entrance to the palace. A guard denied the tourist entrance to the palace. So indirect. Before my trip, Seema wished me a safe flight. What do you think is the right one here? Okay, so we have indirect object. For Chinese New Year, my aunt cooks us traditional pork dumplings. What's the right answer over here? So, indirect. All right, so that's it for this lesson. You have to make sure that you complete the questions if you haven't done this, and then you also do the final test. If during the test you still need more help, you can click on this chat button here and you can get more help when you're doing the test and you still need more help. But before we finish, let me know if you have any questions. Do you have any questions before we finish our lesson for today? Or you have no questions? You can tell me. So if you have no question for today, we'll end